Life has a funny way of changing when we least expect it. One day, everything feels normal. Your home works, your routine works, your life feels familiar. And then something changes. Sometimes it's something that's very exciting, like a new baby, a new job opportunity, or a new season of life. Sometimes, however, it can be quite painful, like a loss, a health change, or a situation you never expected. And sometimes it's not just one big thing at all. Sometimes it's a series of small things that slowly start adding up and it just doesn't work anymore. Maybe your commute gets longer, your family grows, your priorities shift. That place that once felt perfect doesn't quite fit the life you're living anymore. And that's something I've learned after helping so many families build right here in Middle Tennessee. People don't usually just wake up one morning and decide, I want to move. It's usually a collection of moments, a collection of changes, a collection of reasons that build up until they realize something needs to change. And that's what today's video is all about. Welcome back to my Life and Home series, where we're talking about the real life moments that shape the homes we choose and the lives we build. Hi, I'm Heather Williams. I'm a realtor with Elevate by Drees Homes, and I help families build new homes on their own land throughout the Middle Tennessee area. And if you enjoy videos about new home construction, building on your own land, home design ideas, and the stories behind why people choose to move, make sure to like and subscribe, because that's exactly what I love sharing here. Today, we're talking about 5 moments that change the way we live, because sometimes the home isn't the problem. Sometimes life simply changes and our home needs to change with it. So, life change number 1, when there are just too many reasons not to stay. One of the biggest things I see here in Middle Tennessee is people making a decision that is much bigger than simply buying a different house. They are changing their entire life. I meet families all the time who move here from other states, sometimes even across country. And what I find interesting is that a lot of them don't actually leave because they hated their home. Some of them love their home. Some of them lived there for decades, and some of them raised their children there. They had friendships and family there. They had memories there, and they had an entire life built there. So when someone decides to leave everything they've known and move across the country, that is not a decision that they make lightly. Usually it's because a lot of things have been building for a long time. Maybe it's the cost of living, maybe it's the taxes, maybe it's too many rules and regulations, maybe it's the traffic, or simply a life that they want to live no longer matches the environment that they're in today. And what I've noticed is it's not just really one thing that comes up. It's usually a lot of things that start adding up until eventually they ask themselves, is this really where we want to spend the next chapter of our life? And for many people, that answer becomes no. They're not necessarily running away from their old life. They're moving towards something that they want more, that has more value, more space, more freedom, more time with family, more opportunity, a different pace, a different way of living. And sometimes that means building a new home, not because the old one wasn't good enough, but because their vision for their future has changed. And sometimes the biggest life change is realizing the place you've always called home is no longer the place you want to build your future. But sometimes the reason people move has nothing to do with the way they live. Sometimes it's about who is living with them, because families are constantly changing. Life change number 2, when your family doesn't look the same anymore. One of the most common reasons I see people needing a different home is because their family has changed. And sometimes it's a growing family. Maybe they bought their first house before they had children, and suddenly they have another person who needs space, a nursery, a playroom, a backyard, a place where everyone can spread out. And sometimes it's not just about having more bedrooms, it's about how the home functions. I was recently talking with someone who initially said they didn't love the layout of their home. And when we start asking more questions and diving a little deeper, we realize it wasn't just about the layout of the house. They had welcomed a new baby into their family, and the room that used to be the guest room had now become the nursery. And because of where that room was located in the home, the baby just wasn't sleeping well. There was a lot of noise that affected the baby. The baby not sleeping affected everyone else. The older kids had to constantly be quiet and couldn't enjoy the things that they wanted. And suddenly, something seemed like a small inconvenience was impacting their entire family dynamic. That conversation wasn't really about a bedroom. It was about peace. It was about relationships. It was about creating a home where everyone in the family could thrive. And that's something I see over and over. Maybe it's a new baby, maybe it's a blended family, maybe it's parents getting older and you realize you want to create a space where they can come and live with you someday. Life changes and the people in your home change. And sometimes the home that worked perfectly for one season just doesn't work the same way in the next. And a home should support the people inside of it. And when your family changes, sometimes your home needs to evolve too. But it's not always the people inside the home that change. Sometimes it's everything happening around you. And sometimes your surroundings start affecting the way we live every single day. Life change number 3, when your surroundings start taking more than they give. Sometimes people move because they realize the environment is no longer supporting the life they want. Maybe it's a commute that takes away hours every week. Maybe it's a feeling like you're constantly surrounded by noise and traffic. Maybe it's wanting more privacy or wanting more land. Maybe it's dreaming about having animals, a garden, a horse, or simply a place where your family can slow down. Sometimes something happens that changes the way you see where you live. Maybe there's been a burglary and you don't feel as safe as you used to be. Maybe your neighborhood has changed and maybe your priorities have changed. And suddenly the place that once worked doesn't feel the same anymore. I've experienced this personally too. And sometimes something just happens that makes you stop and think, is this really how I want to spend my everyday life? And that's when the deeper question comes into play, because it's not really just about the house. It's about how your surroundings affect your happiness, your stress, your time, and your ability to enjoy the people around you that you love. Because at the end of the day, your home should be more than just a shelter. It should support the way you want to live your life. And sometimes the biggest reason people move isn't just because they're looking for a different house. They're looking for a different experience of everyday life. And sometimes life changes in a way we would never have chosen. Sometimes the next chapter finds us before we're ready for it. Life change number 4, preparing for the next chapter. Some of the most emotional moves that I see happen during the transition of seasons of life: retirement, empty nesters, health changes, and sometimes losing the one you love. I've worked with people who have lost a spouse and suddenly had to make decisions they never expected to make. Do they stay in the home where they have made so many memories? Or do they make changes to the home? Or do they simply start over somewhere new? And those decisions are deeply personal. Sometimes staying feels comforting. Sometimes staying feels like a constant reminder of what was lost. And sometimes the home itself just becomes too much to manage alone. And sometimes moving isn't about leaving the past behind. It's about allowing yourself permission to move forward. Because a home carries memories and it carries a season of life. And sometimes a new beginning can be part of that healing process. And sometimes the biggest life change is realizing that the home that served you in one season of life may not support you in the next. And finally, one of the biggest changes I think we're going to continue to see in the future is the way families think about living together. And life change number 5, when families start finding new ways to come together. Housing has changed. The cost of housing has changed, and families are getting creative about how to build their future. I'm seeing more families consider multi-generational living. Maybe it's parents building a home where grandparents can live comfortably. Maybe it's adult children and parents creating a shared space. Maybe it's simply families wanting to stay connected and support one another. And yes, affordability is a big part of that conversation. Houses are a major investment and families are looking for solutions that make sense long term. But I also think there is something really beautiful happening here. Families are finding new ways to be together, to support one another, to create memories across generations. Sometimes the answer isn't having more distance. Sometimes the answer is finding a way to build together. Now, the home is not just about where we live, it's about who we share that life with. At the end of the day, people don't usually move over one single moment. Usually, it's a collection of changes, a new season, a new challenge, a new opportunity, and a new vision for the future. And eventually, those changes lead people to ask, is my current home still supporting the life I want to live today? So, I'm curious, what recent life change has influenced the way you think about your home? Maybe it's something you're experiencing right now, or maybe it's something that happened years ago. I'd love to hear your story in the comments below. And if you haven't watched the other episodes in my Life and Home series, I'll link those below because we've been talking about why people move, the moments that change our lives, and how those decisions shape the homes that we choose. And if you're thinking about building a new home on your own land here in Middle Tennessee, I'd love to be a resource for you and help you understand what that process can look like. Make sure to like and subscribe for more videos about new home construction, home design, and building a home that fits the life that you want to live. In the meantime, thanks for watching.